Hey y'all, this is Jamie. Welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, we are going to be going over some ingredients that are commonly found in our makeup and cosmetics products. But before we get into that, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload a new video every Monday and Wednesday. Also, make sure to give this a thumbs up if you like this video and this series and would like to see more. And without further ado, I got my notes ready. Let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so for this video, I actually did a lot of research. I was going to do it anyways, but even more so, I feel like within the last, like month or so, ingredients has become a big subject in the beauty community. What ingredients are in our products, what ingredients are good, what ingredients are bad, what ingredients we should stay away from, which ones we should look for. I thought that it would be kind of a good idea to do some research a little bit. I am not saying I am an expert in this field. I am not an expert in skincare. I'm not an expert in ingredients, chemistry, biology, anything like that. I'm just kind of here to tell you what I have learned from my research, from, reading articles, from watching videos. So I'm just going to give you information and let you roll with it. I will also leave all of the articles that I read and the sources that I got this information from down in the description box below if you want to do some of your own research. I've got my notes here, so if you see me looking down, I am reading my notes. So let's go ahead and get started. These are 5 common ingredients that are found in cosmetics products. Alright, so the first one that I'm going to talk about today is one that I first heard, I think it was 11th Gorgeous. One of them always talks about not using products that have the ingredient dimethicone in it. I had never heard of that before because a lot of these I had heard of before. Dimethicone is not one that I had heard of, but what it is a silicone-based polymer, and it is used for actually several different things. So it's an anti-foaming agent, it is a skin protectant, and then it is also a skin and hair conditioner. But the main reason why it's used in ingredients is because it makes it more spreadable. One of the main things that you will find dimethicone is primers. So that's kind of what makes a primer that like silicone-y feel. But it can also be found in shampoos, conditioners, body lotions, because it's what makes those more spreadable. And then it's also used in primers because it creates a protective barrier on the skin and it can help fill in fine lines and wrinkles. So you'll usually find dimethicone in like pore filling primers. So why do some people like to stay away from this? It's not a very nourishing or moisturizing product because it creates that barrier instead of sinking into the skin. Another reason is that because it's creating that barrier, it's actually trapping everything under it. So that includes bacteria and sebum, and that can lead to breakouts. And then also because of that barrier, it prevents the skin from performing its normal activities such as sweating, temperature regulation, and sloughing off those dead skin cells. As far as what the FDA has to say about this, the FDA actually says it is safe to use as a skin protectant. So some studies have even shown that it helps soothe and it helps improve chronic hand dermatitis, and it helps reduce inflammation and irritation. So there are some pros to it, but some cons. It is FDA approved though as a skin protectant ingredient. So the second ingredient that I wanted to talk about today is one that y'all are probably very familiar with. It is parabens. So nowadays it seems like everything has on the package paraben-free, phthalate-free, fragrance-free. I will get to those other 2 later on in this list as well. Why do we want things to be paraben-free? What is it? What is it used for? Why do we not want it in our products? Parabens are a family of chemicals that are used as preservatives. I did mention in my 1920s video, my Makeup Throughout History 1920s video, when it was initially developed. That was sometime in the 1920s, and it was this huge thing because we now had a way to preserve things to make them last longer. It is used as a preservative to prevent the growth of bacteria. It is used in makeup, it's used in hair care, it's used in moisturizers, and it is used in shaving products. So there are 4 main types of parabens. So these are the 4 parabens that if you look on the ingredients list and it has parabens, it'll usually be in one of these 4 forms. So there's propylparaben, there is methylparaben, there is butylparaben, and there is ethylparaben. If you want to know if one of your products has parabens in it, it usually won't just say paraben, it'll have the type of paraben and it'll have one of those. All right, so I wanted to kind of make a bit of a disclaimer. Not every ingredient has to be FDA approved, but it has to be appropriately branded. So if something is going to say it is paraben free, it has to be paraben free. If something's going to say it's phthalate free, it has to be phthalate free. The only thing that does have to be FDA approved is color additives. There we go. All right, so are parabens safe or not? So many products nowadays are so proud of being phthalate free, fragrance free, paraben free, they're using that as a selling point. If something is boasting about being paraben free, does that mean that we shouldn't want parabens in our products? The FDA, as of right now, does not have any proof that parabens used in cosmetics have an adverse effect on human health. One of the biggest concerns that has been brought up about parabens is that it could cause hormone disruption, which is linked to an increased risk of breast cancer and reproductive toxicity. Parabens can mimic estrogen, so our bodies can possibly see that as having an overabundance of estrogen, which can trigger breast cell division and tumors. That is what people are worried about. So health advocates have been pressuring the FDA to ban parabens that are used in cosmetics products in the US. It is already banned in Europe, but apparently there have just not been enough cases, or there's not been enough evidence that the use of paraben in products has had that much of an effect on human health right now. So I think the FDA is continuing to monitor it, but so far it's kind of, I guess there hasn't been enough cases, or there hasn't been as big of a health risk yet. So that is the information I'm giving you. I will leave down below the couple of articles that I read about parabens, let you make your own decision about whether you want it or not in your products. A lot of brands are now becoming paraben free, so it's almost to a point where we don't have to worry about that too much. That's the tea on parabens. I said that's the tea. I don't know that I've ever said that before. So ingredient number 3 is one that is like one of the most popular ingredients today, hyaluronic acid. So hyaluronic acid is a humectant. That means that it's a moisturizing agent. It's supposed to keep things from becoming dehydrated. It is a natural polysaccharide that is found in connective tissues, usually cartilage. So it is something that our bodies actually naturally make, hyaluronin or hyaluronic acid. Other names for hyaluronic acid are hyaluronin or hyaluronate. So it has several different uses. One of them, it boosts moisture retention, so the ability for your skin to stay moisturized. It can soothe the skin, it can get rid of free radicals in the skin, and then it smooths the appearance of the skin. This is usually found in injectable fillers, it's found in serums, moisturizers, it's now being found in like primers, foundations, blushes, lipsticks. So some people hear acid and they think that it's harsh. So it's not an acid in the same sense that other acids like glycolic acid or salicylic acid are. Those are the ones that exfoliate dead skin cells. What this does is it actually lubricates. So it's a lubrication agent for joints, for nerves, for skin, for hair, for the eyes. 50% of the body's hyaluronic acid is contained in the skin. And as we get older, our ability to produce hyaluronic acid or hyaluronin actually declines. So that is the reason for fine lines and wrinkles, for sagging skin, for dryness. So a lot of times as you get older, your skin type turns more dry. So this is one of those ingredients that is actually used more now in skincare that we can buy and use at home because of its use in cosmetic procedures like injectable fillers. So one of the things that hyaluronic acid is advertised is as kind of an anti-aging ingredient because it's supposed to provide moisture back to your skin, give your skin back its plump look, but it is unfortunately not a very good anti-aging ingredient. The only way that it could really work as an anti-aging ingredient is if it's injected directly into the skin. And that's because there's this doctor, Dr. Leslie Bowman, she's the author of The Skin Type Solution. She actually explained that hyaluronic acid molecules are too large to pass through the skin. So if you're putting it on your skin topically, it's not going to sink into your skin because the molecules are too large. So it's just going to sit on top. Having a moisturizer or a mask or a cream or a serum that has hyaluronic acid is not necessarily going to make your skin more moisturized in the long term. While you have it on your face is going to look more moisturized, but it forms the kind of barrier on your skin. So it does give that moisturizing effect that makes skin smoother. It doesn't eliminate wrinkles or fine lines. So there is no evidence that topical use of hyaluronic acid will have any like amazing moisturizing effect on your skin long term. So for the question of should we use it, so it's one of those things that it works for some skin types better than it does for others. And from what I've been reading, it seems like it's best to use it in a blend with other ingredients, so not just putting straight up hyaluronic acid on your face. I read that it was beneficial for acne-prone skin because hyaluronic acid is super light and watery, and that's better to use for acne-prone skin than moisturizers that are creamy or oily. Also, there have been some cases of people using hyaluronic acid and it actually making their skin feel tighter and drier instead of more moisturized. So what hyaluronic acid does is it actually pulls some moisture from the environment. So if you're in a dry climate, the hyaluronic acid, which is a water-binding ingredient, doesn't have any moisture from the environment to pull, so it actually can start to pull moisture from those deep layers of your skin, thereby making your skin feel drier and not as moisturized as it should. So it can actually have the opposite effect. So it kind of depends on where you are, what your skin type is. If you're in dry climates, it's probably not the best to use hyaluronic acid for that reason. All right, so the fourth ingredient, phthalates. I actually couldn't find a whole lot of information on phthalates because, like I said before, so many products nowadays, the three things that it's saying it's free of are parabens, phthalates, fragrance. And so I was like, ooh, I want to learn more about phthalates. Why should we not be using products that have phthalates in them? And honestly, I could not really find a solid answer as to what exactly phthalates were. I just kept reading it's a group of chemicals. From what I can tell, they're unnatural chemicals. There are three main types of phthalates that are used in cosmetics and that you'll probably see on your ingredients list. We have DBP, which is dibutyl phthalate. We have DEP, which is diethyl phthalate. And then we have DMP, which is dimethyl phthalate. Each of those are kind of used in a different way. So DBP, the dibutyl phthalate, is used in products as a plasticizer to avoid stiffness. So they're used in products like nail polishes to avoid cracking. DMP, which is dimethyl phthalate, is used to form kind of a flexible film, usually on the hair, so it's used in like hairsprays. And then DEP, diethyl phthalate, is actually used as a solvent and as a fixative in fragrances. Nowadays, dibutyl phthalate and dimethyl phthalate are used very rarely, but diethyl phthalate is actually still used pretty commonly in cosmetics. So phthalates was one of those ingredients that I couldn't really find much evidence that it was bad. The CDC did a study and found that elevated levels of phthalates excreted by women of childbearing age, they were there, they were high levels, but I didn't necessarily understand what was wrong with that other than having high levels of unnatural chemicals in our body. Most of the stuff that I was reading, it says, oh yeah, we have found that people who use these cosmetics or use these products have high level of phthalates in their bloodstream. But there was nothing that really said which leads to so and so and so and so. It wasn't like, oh, it leads to higher rates of cancer or hormone disruption or anything like that. I couldn't really find what were the adverse health effects. I can understand not wanting high levels of unnatural chemicals in your body. I get that, and honestly, to me, that's enough to not use products that have phthalates. Right now, the Cosmetic Ingredient Review, or the CIR, has found that phthalates are actually safe to use in cosmetics products. And I think it's kind of for that same reason. There hasn't been many cases of health problems that were caused by increased levels of phthalates. So do with that what you will. So the last ingredient that I'm going to be talking about today is fragrance. Fragrance is one of those catch-all ingredients that there are not really a lot of rules about. A lot of products and a lot of brands list fragrance as one of its ingredients, but they don't really list specific ingredients. Like, what is it that makes that fragrance? And they don't have to. The reason why it used to be because companies wanted to be able to keep their secret ingredients, their secret recipes for their fragrance without, telling everybody so that they could recreate it. That's still in play today. So companies, they don't have to put exactly what their fragrance ingredients are, as long as they just put fragrance. So it can be kind of a combination of natural and or man-made substances that are added to products basically in order for them to smell good. Sometimes they're used just to give a product a pleasant odor, and then sometimes they're used to actually mask an unpleasant odor from another ingredient. A lot of studies have shown that fragrance is a key factor that makes somebody want to buy a product. So that's why a lot of companies do put fragrance in their products to make them want to buy that product, because they're like, ooh, well, I have this product or this one. They do the same thing, but this one smells really good, so I'm going to buy that product. There are some adverse effects to fragrances, so they can cause allergic reactions. Some inhaled irritants can trigger asthma or headaches. It can also have eye, nose, or throat irritation. So there are two common reactions to fragrances in products. So the first one is called irritant contact dermatitis. So this one is actually the most common. It can usually lead to itchy skin or a red rash, and then it's treated with creams or cleansers. So it usually will be something like, there's usually just something in that specific product that your skin doesn't necessarily agree with, and it has a reaction. But then there's also a second reaction, which is called allergic contact dermatitis. And that is when something is in there that you are actually allergic to. It's like an allergy to a specific ingredient. And that will cause redness, itching, swelling, and sometimes hives. That one is usually treated with anti-inflammatory drugs or creams. I would definitely say if you have sensitive skin, or if you're noticing that when you use certain products, you're breaking out, or you're having, you're getting really flushed, having red rashes, I would definitely look to see if there is fragrance in the ingredients list. I feel like that's kind of one of the main ingredients that people with sensitive skin have reactions to. And if it is, then that might be something that you need to take out of your skincare routine. I think there are a lot of brands that are fragrance-free, and with all of these, fragrance-free, phthalate-free, paraben-free, all of that is just at your discretion. All right, so real quick before you leave, I kind of wanted to show y'all some examples of products that have these ingredients in them. Now, the only ingredient that I couldn't find a product in my own collection that contained it was phthalates. So apparently I am phthalate free, but all other ingredients I found some kind of product in my collection. Now this could be skincare, hair care, cosmetics, makeup. We're gonna start out with fragrance. Now I will say most of my products had some kind of fragrance in them. There are some products that it specifically said on the bottle fragrance free, but if it didn't say on the bottle that it was fragrance free, it more than likely had fragrance. One of them is my Paul Mitchell Flexible Style Hot Off the Press. This is a heat protectant spray. That does have fragrance in it, which is actually one of the reasons why I bought this. The woman who does my hair would use this all the time when she was doing my hair, and I was like, what is that? It smells wonderful. I really would like it. And then the other one is my Soap & Glory, the Fab Pore Purifying Foam Cleanser. So this one right here. I have not had any reaction to it, which is one of the reasons why I continue to use it. I actually went through a long period of time, probably about 10 years, which I was not actually washing my face. I was wiping it with a makeup remover wipe, and that was it, because every cleanser that I tried would actually make me break out. So I just kind of gave up on them for a while because I was like, that just seems counterproductive to me. So far, the fragrance in this is not having any adverse effects on my skin, which is why I continue using this. All right, so the next ingredient is hyaluronic acid. I do have a couple. So one of them is actually a face mask. This is the Masquerade Hydrating Facial Sheet Mask. pre-party prep to brighten, prime, and energize. So it makes sense. This is supposed to be a hydrating sheet mask, so it makes sense that it would have hyaluronic acid. So this does have as one of its ingredients sodium hyaluronate. The other one I was actually pretty surprised about, but when you think about it, it makes sense. So this is the Bausch & Lomb BioTrue multi-purpose solution. So this is my contact solution. It was out on the counter, so I just kind of grabbed it and looked at the ingredients list. I was not expecting for any of these ingredients to be in this, but it makes sense because the reason why you use contact solution is so that your contacts don't dry out while they're not in your eyes. So that makes sense. You want them to retain moisture, so you're going to put a moisturizing agent in there. So it contains hyaluronan. So the next ingredient that I found a few products for are actually parabens. So this first one right here actually has two different types of paraben. So this is the Makeup Revolution Luxury Baking Powder, methylparaben, as well as propylparaben. And then this next one is another Soap & Glory product. It is the Heal Genius Amazing Foot Cream. This also has methylparaben as well as propylparaben. And then lastly, I have quite a few products, and I could have included almost every product in my collection in this, but these are the products that have dimethicone. So first up is my Wet n Wild Photo Focus Stick Foundation, the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Liquid Foundation. The Essence Pure Nude Highlighter actually has dimethicone in it as well. The Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. And then lastly, my Avon Skin So Soft Replenishing Hand Cream has dimethicone. So all these products are ones that I actually use quite frequently, almost on an everyday basis. Most of these were actually on my bathroom counter, which are the products that I use almost every day. Other than the contact solution, which has hyaluronic acid, which is known as being a good ingredient. Other than that, most of these ingredients are ones that are considered bad ingredients. So far, I haven't had any reactions, any rashes, any breakouts, anything like that from any of these products. I think a lot of these ingredients are person to person. Usually, if they're in here, they're towards the bottom of the ingredient list, and typically a whole lot isn't found in each product. If that's something that you're worried about, do your research yourself. Like I said before, I will leave down below some of the articles and the websites that I found useful and helpful, and that I got most of my information that I brought to you today from. Do your research, learn about certain products, figure out what is important to you, live a happy and healthy life. Alright guys, so that is it for today's video. Please give this a thumbs up if you liked it. If you are not already, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see y'all in my next one. Bye y'all.